Hi, and welcome to the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show. This episode of the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show comes to you from Tags Tools, with 2 locations to serve you in Hamilton, one at 1104 Barton Street East, and in the mountain at 1361 Rymel Road East, your go-to store for hard-to-find tools and machinery. This maker is a scroll saw genius. Meet Leslie, the owner of Oak and Feather. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
So we finally meet.
I know.
Yeah, we haven't ever really met in person, so it's cool. I'm so glad that you wanted to do this.
I know. Thank you for asking me. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited because you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, it kind of all started coming at me at once. So it's really exciting right now.
Yeah, good. And being new mom with baby number 2.
Yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we'll get started with, so I saw you on Instagram, like, I don't know, probably about 3 years ago or something like that. Is that when you initially started?
Yeah, so I opened up my Instagram page. It would have been in early 2017. So my first daughter just turned 1. And I was trying to figure out, am I heading back to a corporate job or am I going to try to figure out a way to stay home? And I started my Instagram page just doing hand painted signs then. And that's when I made the decision, okay, I'm going to stay at home and see if I can make this work.
Awesome. So like, how did you learn all this stuff? Was it just trial and error? Did you take courses? Did you read books, like YouTube?
Yeah. So I grew up, my mom and dad were always really handy. And I mean, they built their first house. So anything that needed to be done around the house, like if we wanted a slide, my dad was like, okay, well, let's go build a slide. Or if we needed a deck, my dad and mom would build it and we were always helping. So I had kind of general working knowledge of tools. And my sister was getting married. She asked me, could you make me a couple signs or maybe even a card box for my wedding? And I said, well, sure, I can give it a try. I've never done that before. And she married an Italian guy. So it was a huge wedding.
Yeah.
And I made these things for her and all of their guests said, oh, well, I'd like a sign or I'd like a box. So it kind of just snowballed from there. And I started to learn as I went. I never took any formal courses or anything like that. Using the miter saw and drills and things like that. My husband was there and my dad was there to help me along the way. But then when I got my scroll saw, basically the reason why I got the scroll saw was I saw all these really cool 3D signs and I didn't know how they were being made. And on Instagram, I saw it was the House of Timber. She was Sawdust Junkies at the time, Lizzie, on the scroll saw. So I decided, I've been doing this for a little while. I'm going to just take a jump and see if I can do it. And thankfully my parents believed in me and they invested in me and they bought me my first scroll saw, and it was just YouTube and kind of learn as I go from there.
Yeah, because you're right about the whole snowball effect. I hear that from a lot of makers that they just started off by making something for their mom or their dad or their brother or sister or whatever, and then people like it and say, hey, I want one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I recently saw it, like you've really upped your game big time and getting into really intricate work. The cat one are doing, so you're incorporating, like, what are you doing? Like you're making like a puzzle and then sort of putting it together?
Yeah, so when I kind of started getting really busy, I was making the same thing over and over. People wanted the nursery round signs, they wanted growth charts or like the word family cut out, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it makes you money and keeps you in business. But after my second daughter was born in February of 2019, my time became even more precious to me. Balancing being a mom and business became a really huge balancing act for me. And I decided, if I'm going to take time away from my family to run this business, I want it to be on projects that really get my creative juices flowing and I can kind of follow my own path rather than making what people see on the internet and they want me to like copy it or do whatever. I wanted to do my own thing. So I've gradually started saying no and and also pitching ideas to people that come to me. So the cat, for example, the lady came to me and she said, I really want just like a silhouette of my cat with her name on it. it doesn't need to be too crazy or anything like that. And I said to her, well, send me a photo. And she did. And I said, well, this is my idea. What I want to do is basically take that picture and I'm going to recreate it out of wood by cutting it like a puzzle
Yeah.
and then putting it back together. And so that's what I've done. It's almost done. And it's really cool. The scroll saw allows you to do a lot of really intricate cuts. So that's what I'm trying to focus on more now, is doing more of those really detailed projects.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome because I've watched you evolve because I started on Instagram in 2016, right
Okay.
around the summer. I was Live Edge Lumber Girl, but I mean, like, I wasn't Live Edge Lumber Girl, like the business, the
Online.
company, right
Yeah.
back then. And then I know I followed you right from the beginning, I think, and just watch you grow and grow and grow. And so you have a website, and I noticed that you do some blogging.
Yeah.
And so not a lot, but I saw that you've got it down. Definitely. That's
Yeah.
cool. Do you plan to expand on that sort of thing?
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, it's become a really big balancing act. So in between, taking my daughter to school and taking care of the baby and taking care of my house and all that stuff, I'm trying to figure out where exactly I want to go next. I love making signs for customers because obviously getting ideas from people and being able to make them is awesome. But I get a lot of joy out of teaching other people to make things and to do things themselves, because a lot of people that follow me, they want to do what I do too, and it makes me really
I
happy
want
that,
to.
yeah, and it makes me super happy to be able to give people information so they can learn from my journey and from my mistakes, honestly, because when I started, I messed up so much and there was really nobody to go to say, like, where do I go next, or what could I do differently? So being able to be there for people that are trying out is awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, the blogging, and now the opportunity with the online wood show, and
Yeah.
I'm doing an article right now too for Canadian Woodworking Magazine, and if that goes well, I'm really hoping that it can kind of lead to more kind of teaching opportunities or seminar opportunities to really promote, the scroll saw, because it's not really that popular of a tool, and it can do so many really cool things. And also just like females in woodworking in general. I mean, there's not a ton of women that are really kind of in the forefront of woodworking right now. I mean, in the online community, we're getting bigger and bigger, and I just want to keep that ball rolling because
Yeah.
it's really inspiring to see other women doing it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the whole women in the wood world is actually, I've
Yeah.
watched it really grow in my years, and
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing to see the things that women are putting out there and getting involved in that industry for sure. So I'm pretty excited about the woodworking show that's coming
Yeah.
up in November. I bought a ticket to support the community.
Awesome. Yeah. So the good thing about buying the ticket for the wood show is when you purchase a ticket, you actually get access to all of the recorded sessions afterwards. So if you register for free, you can join the sessions, watch them, and it's awesome. But if you buy a ticket, you actually have access to the videos after. So that's a super big bonus of
Yeah.
supporting the wood show too. But yeah, so it's November 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I'm
Okay.
going to be on daily at 11:30 in the morning, and each of my sessions is going to build on the other. So the first day is really just going to be the basics. Like if you've never seen a scroll saw before, or you're just starting out, or even if you're an experienced scroller and you kind of want to go back to the basics, I'm going to be going through things like how to set up your saw, all the different types of scroll saw blades you can use, different materials that you can use, and how to set up your project in the best way so that you can cut it fairly easily. And then that will jump off on the next day, where I'm going to go through how to do specific cuts, and then going through the finishing process, like with painting and sealing and all that stuff.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be. I'm hoping it'll be pretty good. I'm in the country, so my internet's always a little bit iffy, but
Oh
I think
yeah.
it'll be okay.
I
Yeah.
know. I know from doing Zoom interviews about lagging. For
Yeah, yeah,
sure. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about the types of materials that you've used for interior, exterior, things like that.
Yeah, so for interior signs, I've tried like a ton of different types of wood. But what I found to be the best for the scroll saw specifically is birch plywood. That plywood is really, really good because if you look at the edge of it, There's barely any voids in birch. So if you're cutting outwards or shapes, you're not going to have those holes in the side of
Yes.
it. And you can get it in 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. So a lot of the stuff I do is detail work, and you don't want like a huge, 3/4 inch or 1 inch piece of wood on your board.
Right.
So that's a really good material, and it's solid. So it's not going to just, break apart really easily on you.
Right. That's
I've
something to
tried
keep
different.
in mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've tried all different types like poplar and maple and stuff like that, but birch has really been the best plywood if that's what you're looking to cut.
Yeah. Okay.
MDF is a product that the vast majority of scroll saw artists will use because it's a really cheap product.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
easy to cut and it paints beautifully. MDF gets a really bad rap because it is toxic. When
Right.
you're cutting it, that dust is really fine, but as long as you're wearing your personal protection equipment, you have the proper dust mask, you have ventilation in your shop, it is a really good material to use if you're making signs. But that is a very specific to interior product because
Okay.
MDF is basically it's like a pressed paper and glue almost. So if you expose MDF to the outdoors, it'll basically dissolve over
Right.
time. For outdoor signs, that's a really tricky one. A lot of people don't actually make outdoor signs because, I mean, anybody that works with wood knows if you're putting wood outside, it's
Yeah.
not going to last forever.
Right.
So if
That's
you're
why I
going to
was
spend
curious
hours,
about that.
yeah, if you're going to spend hours and hours and hours on a sign, you don't really want to see it, dissolve within a year. I I do make outdoor signs, but I have to be really kind of picky about the ones that I do, because I use wood and they become very heavy. So if you want like a massive storefront sign, that's not really something that I make because if you're hanging it over a door and it weighs 500 pounds, right? You don't want that to
That's
fall
not
off the
safe.
wall or
Yeah.
something. But like if somebody wants a smaller logo for outside or like a family name side to hang on their house, I always recommend to people to use cedar, because cedar is it's not cheap, but it's cheaper for the outdoors and it lasts really well outside.
Yes.
And there's a product called Xtera, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it. It's very similar to MDF, but it is manufactured to be outdoors. It's pretty expensive.
Yes.
So if you're making lots of outdoor signs, it's a good investment to make. You can buy it in sheets like plywood.
Yeah.
But that's if I'm doing outdoor signs, that's the material that I will use,
Where
cut
would
out
you
words
go
and
for
stuff like
something
that.
like that?
So I specifically go to Century Mill Lumber because they
Okay.
have that product. A lot of lumber mills might have access to it. So if you talk to them and ask them, they can generally bring it in for you.
Right.
That's kind of
Okay.
what I do material wise for
Yeah.
me. But I know like I've gotten into a little bit of hardwoods. It's expensive. So I
Yes.
haven't gone too far down that road yet, but that's kind of the next thing that I want to get into
Yeah.
more is scrolling more things like, the really nice walnut.
You could always talk to
Yeah.
me if you need some
Well,
information
that's
about
I was gonna say. I'm gonna come for you because
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
just to go back to the exterior or however they say it,
yeah.
is that like does that come in like 1/2 inch?
I get it in 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch sizes, and I don't know if they go down to 1/4 inch. I don't think
Okay.
they do. But it's very similar to MDF, so
Yeah.
it's easy to scroll and it's easy to finish, and it makes for a really good outdoor product.
Have you ever heard of one called, I don't know what the technical name is, but signboard? It's
No.
almost a plastic, like it's not even really, it's
Oh,
not wood. It's not wood,
yeah.
but yeah, you should look into, I don't know if that's something that you would use. You could use it like, I don't know if you could cut it to make letters, but possibly for mounting anyways.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have to look into
I
that.
used to work for a plywood company and I used to sell signboard to some sign companies.
Signboard. Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
Well, that's
that
good to
sounds,
know.
yeah.
Nice.
That's why we all sort of like get together and talk every
Yeah.
now and then to teach each
No, it's
other
awesome.
stuff.
You learn something new every day.
Awesome. Okay. So, yeah, I was really curious about the outdoor sign thing because I thought, how do you
Hmm.
get those? So, what do you use to get the letters to stick?
So for indoor signs, I predominantly use just like a super glue. So I really like the Gorilla Clear super glue because it
Yeah.
dries super fast. If I'm doing outdoor signs, I typically will do a combination of super glue and then an outdoor rated glue. So I really like the Type Bond glue because it dries pretty quick, and it dries clear. So basically what I do is I would put like a line of the outdoor wood glue in the middle, And then I'll put dabs of super glue just lightly on the exterior edge, because then when you push it down, the super glue will dry super quick and will act as a clamp so that that exterior wood glue can dry in the middle and keep it together.
Okay, I see.
Also, depending on the sign, if it's outside and the lettering is thick enough that I can put a nail through it and it won't split it, I'll
Yeah.
actually put nails into the outdoor signs too. I don't do that for indoor signs because obviously I don't want to like mess up that perfect
Letter. Yeah.
finish on the
Yeah.
signs, but if it's outdoors, typically I'll use nails too if the material allows.
Okay. Okay. That's a good idea. I wondered about that. Yeah, nails make sense for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What was your first sign? Your first sign after the wedding? What was that?
So it's really funny because I started Oak and Feather as a wedding business because that's all I knew. My sister wanted me to make a
Okay.
wedding sign, and then I started doing weddings, but my first actual sign was not a wedding sign. It said The Nest and it had mountains painted on it, and it was for a friend who had just bought their very first house with their girlfriend, and they wanted something to sit on their mantle. So it's funny because in my head, I was like, I'm a wedding business. I'm going to cater to only weddings. But my very first sign was a custom sign. And then since then, that's basically what
Yeah.
I've done, is just custom work ever since.
Right. Right.
So
Isn't that funny
yeah,
that it would go that
yeah.
way?
But I'll never forget that very first one, because it was like this huge deal that, somebody that's not related to me wanted me to make something for them.
Yeah, that's exciting when someone says, "Hey, can you do this for me?"
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a friend of mine that brought this great big cookie, and he wants me to fill the cracks with epoxy. And I've never really done stuff like that. I'm looking at it going, "Oh, what am I getting into?"
Yeah. You got to try
So,
though, right?
yeah. Well, it's all a learning curve, right? And it's when it's a
Totally.
friend trusting you to make something, you know that if it's not perfect, that they're gonna forgive you, right?
For sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about that you were thinking that you wanted to discuss?
I think the biggest thing for me, I think a lot of your listeners to your podcast are probably, interested in woodworking or getting started in woodworking and want to learn more. And the biggest message that I wanted to get out to people is just not give up on yourself if you fail, because I think a lot of people shy away from woodworking, and specifically scroll saws, because it's not as easy as it looks. People will get on the scroll saw and be like, this, my words are snapping, it doesn't look good, it's all wavy, like I'm never gonna be able to do this, so they give up.
Okay.
For me, it has taken hours and hours and hours of practice to get where I am, like literally years, not just
Yes.
hours, just to keep trying and learn from those failures. Because for me in my journey, I've shared, all the behind the scenes. A lot of Instagram accounts, you'll see like these perfect pictures, and I love those accounts too. They're great to look at. But my account is more, the realities of, it's not easy. And,
Yeah.
I break things all the time. I spell things wrong. I mess up. But learning from those mistakes is kind of what has gotten me to where I am right now, because people want to learn, right? So it's just always keeping on the path of, nobody's perfect, even if it
Yeah.
seems like they are. So don't give
Right.
up on yourself if you
Yeah.
feel like you're not, right?
Right. Yeah. Because on social
Yeah.
media, everything can look perfect, right? You can make anything look
Yeah.
perfect, and then, but it's behind the scenes that's all those
Yeah.
little mistakes are happening. Yeah.
Social media is such a powerful tool, right? So
Ugh,
it's how you're using it to grow your business, right? So
yeah.
there's lots of different types of ways that you can go about doing it. And for me, it's been a lot of, showing people how to do what I do is how I've
Yeah.
grown my account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a lot of followers.
You know what?
Awesome.
It's been, 4 years of growth, and
Yes.
it's gotten to a point now where I do have a pretty solid following, which is allowing me to have, the opportunities that I am getting now.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
it's been a really long journey to get here. And I hear all the time, like, people say like, oh, it doesn't matter, who cares if people like it or not, or who cares about the number of followers. But in reality, if you have an Instagram account or a social media account on any platform for your business, those things do matter. And, being able to spend the time to actually build your account is almost as important as, building your skills, within whatever field you're working. So for me, learning to use different types of tools and different techniques has been really important, but also sharing all of that on social media and, transferring that knowledge, from my head into the internet. That's really been what has been able to grow my page a lot.
Yeah, I hear you there. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's important. For one thing, Instagram is like a total phenomenon that blows my mind, the way it is,
Yeah.
the way it is. And once you have that content that people want, or the content that helps people, it makes all the
Mhm.
difference in the world for your business and for the inside, your inside, right? What you give out,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. It's
So,
all about kind of, marketing yourself,
yeah.
but also just like you have a platform to kind of build your own brand, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm Leslie, but I'm also Oak and Feather. So it's
Yeah.
like it's finding that balance between sharing who I am, but also kind of sharing what I want my business to eventually
Yeah.
become.
I'll go somewhere and I'll say, yeah, hi, I'm Paula Golding. And then I'll say, I'm Live Edge Lumber Girl. And they go, because they'll look at me like I have 10 heads when I say Paula Golding. They really
Yeah.
have no idea who that is, right? And then I say, I'm
Yeah.
Live Edge Lumber Girl. And they're like, oh, I follow you. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So that's
it's
funny.
weird sometimes, but yeah, it's
It is
funny.
because it gives you a sense of, I've had people say, oh my God, you're famous. You're a legend and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't even have the amount of followers you have.
Yeah. I live in a really small town, so and I mean, with COVID and everything, I'm not really going out that
Yes.
much, but it has definitely been a little bit surreal when I've gone to, like, Home Depot and, I've got my kids in the cart and I'm loading my wood in and somebody will come up and be like, "Oh, I know you." And
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, did we go to high school together?" Or like and
Yeah.
they're like, "No, no, you're Oak and Feather." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh." And then
Yeah.
I,
That's
like,
so
go in my
cool.
little hermit
Yeah.
shell of, like, "That's me."
Oh, then you know all your hard work is paying off, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
making somebody's watching, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you. I
Oh,
know you've had a tough go with some things along the way with getting your family, making your family, and it's all been a
yeah.
challenge with that part of it, and finding the balance of being a new mom and a woodworker, and running a business. It's a big challenge for sure.
It is, yeah, and I think, one of the things that I love about having social media and being able to share my story is kind of being able to inspire, women who might be like me or in the same
Yeah.
position as me that, you had a job prior to having a family and then you have a family and everything's changed and trying to fit kind of you into
Yeah.
that life again. It's been it has been a huge challenge, but it's been totally worth it. And being able to, say, it's not always easy, but if you really want to make it work, you can make that time for yourself to do it. It's been nice to have that response from people saying that, because I saw you doing it, I gave it a shot and now
Mhm.
I'm able to do it too. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
very inspiring, and I would keep going with it, and
Yeah.
doing your blogs and
Yeah.
inspiring the next generation of scroll saw or woodworking women,
Yeah.
women in wood.
For
It's
sure. Yeah. I hope
yeah,
it keeps going. I'm gonna keep
yeah,
working. So
right
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for taking this time to sit and chat. And will you be able to communicate with people when you're doing it, or is it live? For one
Yeah,
thing,
so
is it's
it is live.
okay.
So basically what I hope to do is like a 45-minute session where people can kind of type questions, but they're not going to be able to like hop on video with me or anything.
Okay. Okay.
But then within the last 15 minutes, I can open it up to have either typed questions
Yeah.
or invite people onto video. So it's
Yeah.
really going to depend how many people tune in. Like I'm thinking, if there's like 30 people, that's awesome. I can probably pull some people up on video to ask questions. But if it's
Right.
maybe 50 or more, I'll probably just do like people can
Yeah.
type to me and I'll answer.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
because it's live, they're also recording it. So I can also go back and watch it and kind of see what questions come up and then I can address them either the next day
Yeah.
or I
Sure.
can do like another recording to
That's a
post up
good
to my
idea.
booth.
Or do a little blog thing on it too there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep that going for sure.
Yeah, yeah, because then because you obviously won't be able to answer everybody's questions, right? You'll
Yeah.
have to pick and choose a few, and then yeah, you can always follow up later or do
do the
like
blogging,
do a
jumping
video
off
about
points,
it or
right?
whatever. Yeah, that's
It's going to be
awesome.
exciting. Lots of
Yeah.
cool stuff coming. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Well,
I don't
thank
know
you so much
if I
for your
can't be there for
support.
all of it. I'll be there for some. I definitely want to check out the first one because I bought a
Yeah.
scroll saw and I keep looking at it thinking I need to learn how to use that thing.
Yeah. Well, this
So
is the
it'll be
perfect
good.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. I'm
Yeah.
very, very excited. Definitely. Yeah.
I haven't been posting as much or storing as much just because it's like not really doing anything that exciting these days. But it's cool that some of my closest friends now are people that I met on Instagram,
Yeah,
which
I
is
know. Isn't
cool.
that
Yeah.
crazy? Same here.
It's so neat. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Oh, and I forgot to mention your chickens. I love your chickens.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
That- That's the content everybody really wants. It's just the
Yeah,
chickens.
the
Yeah.
chickens. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks so much for taking this time, and I really
Yeah. Thank
appreciate it.
you. Yeah. Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity.
Yeah, okay, we'll
Okay.
see
We'll
you on
talk
Instagram.
soon. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to click like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell to stay in the loop. If you have any questions, or if you would like to be featured on the Live Edge Lumber Girl show, leave a comment below. Until next time.